You start the recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever your geographical location is. This is our third session in our three-part webinar series. And the topic here is whether SPC alone is enough. And even before delving into the topic, let's talk about what SPC is. SPC actually stands for Scaled Agile Framework Program Consultant. That was the designation before the Scaled Agile released the 6.0 version on March 1st, 2023. Now the SPC is called as Scaled Agile Framework Practice Consultant from March 1st. Okay, so what is the difference in this SPC? It is still going to be called as SPC, but why from safe program consultant to safe practice consultant? So before, the notion was that any Tom, Dick, and Harry who was a program manager can take an SPC training with some agile trainings and become an SPC. Okay, and then they can say that, okay, hey, I am a safe certified program consultant. Now, this one from version 6 on, SPC is safe practice consultant, where the Scaled Agile Incorporation, in Denver, that company wants you to be a practitioner of SAFe, not just a program manager who is also doing SAFe. Okay, so they are actually trying to get you more involved in Scaled Agile framework, and they are trying to tell a couple of things. Number one, they are trying to tell that, hey, you have to be an advocate of Scaled Agile. You have to have Scaled Agile implementations in your belt. You have to be a full-time coach / trainer. You have to live the Scaled Agile mindset. Okay, so that is why they are putting more emphasis on practice and practitioners to earn the certification. So it looks like, again, this is totally my personal view, it looks like they are trying to limit the SPC certification to people who are really serious about propagating the Scaled Agile framework 6.0 version. Okay. Now, what is new in this Scaled Agile 6.0 version? The key things that I saw as changes, because I upgraded myself to SPC 6 last week. So what I saw as a major upgrade is they are trying to make it more universal, number one, for adoption. Number two, they are trying to incorporate more flow related practices into the new framework. The third thing, they are trying to incorporate more AI, cloud practice, chat GPT and all this. So basically they are trying to bring in more and more technological advancements into the framework without telling that, hey, we are framework or technology dependent, right? They have always maintained the stance that this is technology agnostic, tool agnostic. This is a framework, we get guidance. We are not actually prescribing anything. You can tailor, they say all that, but at the end of the day, they are trying to make you as a ambassador or as a change agent for Scaled Agile. Okay, that is what it is. So coming back to the topic, I always try to emphasize the quote that you see here. Success is built on competence. Competence requires experience, and there is no way around that. There is no shortcut to experience. Now, how can you gather experience? You have to voluntarily involve yourself the first. Then the work will catch up with you. Then anything knowingly or unknowingly that you are doing for the project, for yourself, it becomes an experience. Now, how you are going to validate and reuse the lessons learned from that experience is totally up to you. Okay, there is a saying, if you are using your experience, okay, you are an average person. If you are not using your experience, you are an idiot. Okay, if you are telling your experience to others and enhancing, then you are a visionary. Okay, so three things. So basically, you have to use your experience, and from experience comes competence, and obviously comes success with it. Okay, then how you are going to use that success to launch yourself for further success is totally up to you. So anyways, that is the quote. Now, coming back to the topic, whether SPC alone is enough, right? Now, even before asking that question, we have to ask two questions as predecessors. Number one is whether scaled agile is enough or important for me or required for me. Okay, am I a scaled agile person? So even before asking that question, you have to ask one more question: is agile suitable for me or for my enterprise or for my company or for the project that I'm working on? Okay, so first you have to ask whether agile is good for you. What are the benefits that you are trying to get out of agile? Okay, are you doing agile just for the sake of doing agile because everybody else is doing agile, or you're trying to get some benefits out of it? That is question number one. Once you're convinced that agile is the way to go, then you are trying to see whether scaled agile is good for you, right? You cannot implement scaled agile in a company of 4 people. Okay, now you can implement scaled agile in a company of 100 plus people. Now, what is the impetus for that? What is the incentive for that? Okay, who are the beneficiaries of that? That selling, that sales, plus your implementation expertise or motivation, is the secondary factor. Now, I have seen some companies that have implemented scaled agile and failed. They were successful before not implementing scaled agile, but they failed implementing scaled agile. Now, there are some lessons learned about it, which I will share, later. So, is scaled agile good for us? Yes and no, right? It depends. Now, I have seen some success factors. I have seen some failure factors. The success factors are: once you are dependent on one or more agile practices, let's say you are dependent on Scrum, you are dependent on Kanban, you are dependent on some of these, and that has become an enterprise culture, okay, then obviously there is no way that you are going to come out of it. Okay, when does a process or a framework or a methodology become a culture? If you look at it, once the intended benefits are realized, let's say that I am implementing a Scrum methodology for a particular benefit, and that benefit is part of my vision statement. Okay, let's say that speed to market was my intended benefit, and that was in the vision, and that was funded for, and I was successful in it. Okay, I tried it with one team, it was successful. I tried it with 2 teams, it was successful. Then it becomes a corporate culture. Okay, once it becomes a corporate culture, now you cannot come out of it. Okay, you have already caught the tiger's tail. You have to go with it. Now, what do? You cannot stay with that small mindset. You have to improve. That is where people come to scaled agile. Okay, I have been doing it with 2 people, 2 teams, 3 teams. Now I want to do it with the entire enterprise with the 400 plus people. Okay, that is where the scaled agile framework comes in. Okay, now successfully implementing scaled agile, just because you are successful in doing Scrum framework or Kanban framework and being successful with 1 or 2 teams, one-off teams, it doesn't guarantee that you will be successful in implementing a scaled agile framework. Now, there are some ingredients, there are some entry points, there are some entry criteria for you to get into scaled agile. And scaled agile actually packages it very well and sells it very well. Okay, they are very good salespeople. So there are enough material for you to look into what are the entry points, what are the entry criteria, okay, and what will be the benefits if you go in a certain way of implementation and all that. Okay, I'm not going to cover all of that. So whether scaled agile is correct for your company or for your project or for your own enterprise or your consulting firm. Okay, if you see yes, scaled agile is the right thing for me, then you actually try to pilot it at a program level. Okay, so let me actually go to this slide. This slide shows you three panes or three silos, okay, or three swim lanes. You can see one is the essential, the other one is the larger solution, and the higher level is a portfolio one. Okay, you don't have to implement all the three levels at the same time. What I have seen in experience is people try the essential level first, which is the previous project and program management together. Okay, once they see success in implementation, in deriving the benefits out of it, okay, then they will say, okay, we are good, then let's implement the large solution. Okay, once they're successful there, then they implement the portfolio. Okay, so it is like any other business, right? First you try to test the waters. Okay, you put your feet down. Okay, then you put your hip down, then you put your shoulders, only then you try for swimming. Okay, the same thing. You don't go and implement essential, large, and the portfolio all at the same time, because that is a recipe for disaster. And I have seen many companies like that too. Okay, so is scaled agile right for you? That is the main question. If it is right for you, how do you implement and at what level you implement? And once you start implementing, okay, you will get to learn so many things. What are all the roles and responsibilities that we need? Okay, how is scaled agile different from regular waterfall methodologies? Okay, what are all the dependency management that we are doing? Okay, then we are going to see these people, the scaled agile people are very clever in putting three things together. Okay, one, they always harp about customer centricity. The second thing, they talk about flow. Okay, how is the work flowing? What is the visibility of the work and all that? And the third thing, they are trying to move away from traditional project management, funding, forecasting, and estimating. Okay, they are trying to move it to the scaled agile way of funding, forecasting, estimating, budgeting, and all that. More from a feature perspective. Before, we used to budget for a particular fiscal year, and we would say, okay, this is a vision, and this is what needs to come out of it. Now the new budget says, this is a budget, and we are anticipating this many number of features, functionalities, utilities, every release. Or in this fiscal year, these are the functionalities that we are anticipating, and you can release on demand. Okay, so the mindset is kind of changing from fiscal year funding to funding for specific features, functionalities that are value driven from a customer's perspective. Okay, many times we have seen that we will release something into production, but the end customer may not use it for 6 months. Okay, or we will release something, but there will be lesser customer adoption. So the whole point of customer centricity is customer is at the center. They are the ones who are going to say which feature or functionality they need first, or which derives more value for them, and we are going to release those. Now, once we finalize that, okay, I am going to be agile, I'm going to implement scaled agile. Okay, I want some roles that can make my company a scaled agile company, or a company that adopts scaled agile. Who are the people that are required? Okay, so now in this, okay, so usually when people attend trainings or sessions or webinars like this, they always ask this question, what is in it for me? Because they are spending their precious 1 hour listening to me, right? What is in it for me? So I always list what are the benefits of you attending this short session. Number one, why a scaled agile framework career? Okay, what role is suitable for me? Is SPC the right one for me? Okay, or what is right for me if SPC is not the right one? How can I add value to my role? What are the roles and responsibilities? Which activities should I focus more in implementing scaled agile so that I can advance my career, so that I can become more marketable, so that I can learn more? And what is the career progression in scaled agile? Okay, what is the entry point? Where do I enter? And what is the career progression? Because I am in a certain level now. and SPC role and its marketability. Okay, how is the US market? I don't know about the other markets, Europe or Asian markets, but I can talk about US markets. How is the marketability for the SPC role? And why SPC renewals are very important, because I have seen many people who go and get certified, but they never renew. Okay, so these are the things, the topics that I'm going to talk about very briefly. So why a safe career? Number one, since PMI missed the boat on scaled agile, okay, or for the entire agile for that matter, okay, Scrum Alliance came up with a Scrum certified Scrum Master certification and all that. PMI was still clinging to their traditional signature PMP certification. They never updated themselves until like a couple of years ago. They came up with distributed agile and all that. So they totally missed the boat. And by that time, Scaled Agile Inc. In Colorado, in Denver, Colorado, they took the market. Okay, they pretty much took the entire market share of Scaled Agile. Now, any company that is trying to scale their agile practice, okay, from one or two teams, one-off teams, to the entire enterprise or the entire business unit or the entire geographic location, they are using Scaled Agile as a framework. So there are plenty of jobs out there. And the safe career, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, I am seeing that safe jobs, okay, we will talk about the roles later, but the safe jobs will be there for at least for the next 5 to 10 years. You will definitely find scaled agile jobs. So safe career is actually a good way to move. Now, who is that will benefit immediately by adopting scaled agile? If you're already a project manager, if you're already a program manager, if you're already a scrum master, or if you are more into business analysis and you want to learn more process, not necessarily technology, the scaled agile career is for you. Okay. Now, do you learn scaled agile on day one and then you can jump into this role tomorrow morning? Definitely no. It requires a bit of training. It requires shadowing. It requires knowledge transfer. It requires at least a couple of years for you to educate yourself, mold yourself, and train yourself to fit into a SPC job, okay, or a scaled agile job for that matter. Okay, you cannot go in and start the engine of a rocket on day one. You have to first know the basics of aerodynamics. You need to know how a plane flies. Then you need to talk about getting into a rocket. So that's the analogy. Okay. Now, which role is suitable for me? There are so many roles out there in scaled agile. Okay. The major ones are Scrum Master, Advanced Scrum Master, Product Owner, RTE or Release Train Engineer, STE or Solution Train Engineer, SPC is the advisor. Okay, so there are so many roles out there. Which role is suitable for you? Now, this question is very broad and vague, but at the same time, it is a question to self-analyze whether any scaled agile role, so you should not be desperate enough to take any scaled agile role. Okay, which role is suitable for me? If you are a Scrum Master, then scaled agile Scrum Master will be the next natural progression for you. From there, you can shadow a release train engineer and become a release train engineer. Okay, so you need to know and you have to feel comfortable which role you are already in and try to get into that lateral role in scaled agile and then try to move up. Okay, is SPC the right one for you? It is the right one for you if you are already a program manager, not a project manager. If you're already a program manager, then SPC might be right for you, because at a program manager level, at a traditional program manager level, you know how multiple projects work in sync. You know how economies of scale work. You know how budgeting works. You know how dependencies work. You know how to manage risks. You know how to manage issues. You know how to deal with assumptions. You know how to deal with people, how to deal with leadership, how to deal with multiple teams. So if you have that 10 or 10 plus years of experience as a program manager, then becoming an SPC is an easy thing. It's not a tough thing. But If you are a fresher, or if you have like 2-3 years of experience in the industry, or if you are just a scrum master now, if you try to become an SPC, it is a big shoes that you are trying to fill with your small feet. Okay, you have to grow into it. So it is not a magic bullet. It is not something that you can become a compliant boy on, on day one. Okay, so SPC is right for you if you are already a program manager. That is my personal opinion, because that is how I became an SPC. I was a program manager, and it was an easy transition for me to get into a SPC certification and become an SPC. Now, then the third question is, how can you add value to your role? What are the roles and responsibilities of the SPC role, basically? Okay, so let me cover some of the roles here. The the major one is you are expected to showcase your lean. You are training, you are doing everything from a lean agile mindset. Okay, so we talked about what is lean. Lean is all about reduction of waste. Six Sigma is all about reduction of variation, and the theory of constraints is all about identifying the bottleneck and removing it, okay, at a very high level. Okay, there are some techniques, there are some tools, there are some formulas and all that for it. We're not going to go deep into it. So embodying a lean agile mindset is the key attribute of a SPC. So you have to exhibit that lean agile mindset. Okay, you have to model the values and principles of lean thinking and agile manifesto in daily interactions. So pretty much in every conversation you are supposed to bring in, and you have to live that as the scaled agile life, the lean agile mindset. Okay, you have to demonstrate the safe core values. There are a bunch of core values there. How to deal with people, how to be transparent, how to relentlessly improve. So when we talk about SPC, right, it is not just a title. They are expecting a whole lot from you. Number one, they are expecting you to be, so let me cut here. So they are expecting you to be a change agent, okay, a change enabler. Okay, so for that, communication is very, very important. Okay, you cannot just simply go and send emails and then that's it. No, that's not going to work. You're going to communicate, you're going to run meetings, you're going to interact with people, you're going to run webinars, you are going to do all of those. You're going to be a change agent. Unless you have been a change enabler or a change manager, it is very difficult for you to enact or to implement a change. Okay, anybody can send an email and say that, hey, from tomorrow morning onwards, this is how the process will work. But the adoption of it, whether people are adopting it, whether they are rightly adopting it, or if they are not adopting it, how to make them adopt, all of this are part of change. Okay, so scaled SPCs are actually change agents in the first place. They are also the transformation specialists. If you see the slide, I have
Srini, I
yeah,
think Shankara has some question raised.
yes,
Yeah, I think this SPC was keep on, so I think you may need to replace that with some kind of a practitioner or a consultant. That will be good,
yeah, okay.
because
So
too
scaled
many,
agile
I see
practitioner,
too many acronyms, isn't it, in this one?
yeah. So SPC is scaled agile practitioner. Okay, let's put it that way. Okay, so
Okay.
he's a practitioner. SPC is
So,
actually the certification provided for the practitioner who practices scaled agile.
okay.
Okay, so it is kind of like calling a person IPS or IAS, right? Okay, so they are practicing the administrative service or the police service. So it's the same thing. SPC is actually a practitioner who is practicing scaled agile framework in daily life. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so let's call him safe practitioner for now. Okay, so the safe practitioners, they are considered as, they are not considered as a mid-level managers. Okay, they are considered as senior level people. Okay, many people kind of have an impression that once you get this SPC certification, automatically you are given a senior role in a platter. That is not the case. That is not how it works in the industry. You have to have some experience, and then you have to demonstrate certain skills to become an SPC. Okay. Even for getting that SPC certification, the Scaled Agile Incorporation, they have certain bars, but they haven't enforced that till now. But with this 6.0 version, they are trying to enforce that, you have to truly be a practitioner rather than just a certification holder. Okay. So coming back to this, what are all the expectations out of this SPC? One is the change agent at an enterprise level, not at a team level. You're not enforcing something at a team level. You're enforcing something at an enterprise level. So you have to be a change agent or a transformation specialist. Now, when I say transformation specialist, what are the transformations that this person is doing? So this person, he or she, is actually transforming the entire company from waterfall approach into agile approach, that too into scaled agile approach. Okay, that is the transformation that this person is expected to do. The second point is this person is an enterprise level coach / trainer. Okay, not training scrum masters, not just training product owners. This person is the advisor for leadership on transformations, advisor for the middle level managers. Okay, so that is the fourth point that you see here. Advise leadership on agile transformations. What is the roadmap of transformation? How are we going to transform this company? How are we going to implement scaled agile? What are the benefits? What are the metrics? How are we going to do it? All of that. Okay, that is the advisory role. And the fourth role is establishing, they call it as LACE, or Lean Agile Center of Excellence. So as part of the SPC title that you hold, you are expected to establish or create some centers of excellence in your company. Okay. In my experience, I have done, or I have created or co-created some centers of excellence, right? So what is a center of excellence? Many people think like, okay, I have a letterhead, I have a SharePoint, I have some repository, and I'm having meetings on behalf of a group of people, and that is the center of excellence. In reality, that is not the center of excellence. That you do all of the above that I mentioned, but in reality, the center of excellence is, as the name implies, you are showcasing, you're going to showcase something that is going to be excellent. The outcome or the output is going to be excellent, or the efficiency is going to be improved because of this center of excellence. Okay, so you're creating a center. You're going to create a pool of people. You are going to create a repository of usable artifacts. You're going to bring best practices. You are going to tap best brains within the company. You are going to provide trainings. You are going to build a library. So basically, you are actually setting up kind of a miniature college or a university or a knowledge sharing mechanism or an institution within your company. That is the center of excellence. Okay, many companies have already set up centers of excellence. He is actually promoting and keeping the center of excellence alive. Okay, in my company, I have started multiple centers of excellence, but very few survived. Okay, because people actually come in and they ask the very first question, what is in it for me? Why should I be part of a center of excellence? This is not an organization per se. This is not a business unit per se. Okay, so unless put in their performance objective, they won't be part of this center of excellence. Okay, this is a voluntary mechanism. Okay, so many companies are making it not involuntary. Okay, like, so they are actually tagging you to a business unit, to a portfolio, to a segment, market segment, or to a customer platform, or into some sort of centers of excellence. So the SPCs, or the scaled agile practitioners are expected to establish lean agile centers of excellence and launch ART. ART is another acronym for Agile Release Train, which is nothing but you are releasing a bunch of features and functionalities into production, okay, with the help of multiple teams. That is the ART. Okay. So what are the key functionalities or the roles and responsibilities of a scaled program consultant? Accelerating business agility. You are a change agent leading the change. You are embodying a lean agile mindset. Anything lean or agile or scaled agile, you are the identified person in the company. You are the key person implementing scaled agile, and you are the person coaching on the flow of value to the to your team, to your management, to the customers. Okay, so this is what the SPCs are supposed to do. Okay, are they all doing it in real life? Not necessarily, because there are multiple job roles or job titles that are doing. Okay, there are change agents, there are risk managers, there are business analysts, there are meeting note takers. These scaled SPCs, their roles in many companies are just as coaches. Okay, but with the new implementation or with the new arrival of SAFe 6.0, the expectation is that you are a senior leader. You are anticipated to be doing a lot more than just coaching. Okay, so that is the role aspect of it. Okay, now which activities should I focus more in implementing SAFe? Now that I am already, let's say that I am already a project manager. I have been a scrum master. I have done couple of teams. I have led a couple of teams. I have managed a couple of teams. I have done all of this. Now I am very much interested in getting into scaled agile. Okay, and I want to implement scaled agile. Which activities should I focus? So many people ask this question to me. Okay, I want to get into the scaled agile bandwagon. How do I, which activity should I focus? So I tell them, I show this slide to them. Okay, so there are multiple things that you can do. Okay, you can do by yourself, or you can shadow and help others. Okay, if there are already people establishing a center of excellence, be a helper in establishing it. Okay, that way you get to know how to establish a center of excellence. Lead in the digital age, meaning that you can facilitate. If a coach is teaching something, you can teach like 1 or 2 modules as part of it to the managers and the stakeholders. Okay, organize around value. So if a scaled agile practitioner is doing a value analysis, okay, what value should be released, what should come first, what should come next, all of these, be part of it, be a helper to that while organizing value. Okay, when somebody is drawing up a value stream on a whiteboard, okay, go and contribute, or at least go and listen to what they are doing. Okay, while creating an implementation plan, okay, be part of it, be in the discussions. You can do all of these things. Okay, it's only a little push that is required from you. Prepare for the Agile Release Train launch. So the ART launch, it is usually a 1 week or a 2 week activity that you do. Usually the release train engineers and the SPCs do it. Now, if you are not yourself and learn, preparing for the ART, training the teams, coaching the ART execution. So coaching the ART execution is pretty much your hand holding people while an Agile Release Train is being executed. Okay, when somebody is hand holding certain aspects of Agile Release Trains, be part of it. Okay, launch more Agile Release Trains and value streams. Okay, how is it being budgeted? How are they being staffed? How defect management happens? How security aspects are taken care of? What are the security protocols out there? Okay, if it is a cloud implementation project, okay, what are all the marketplace tools from Amazon Web Services? Okay, or what is the solution architecture? Okay, now these are the things that you can voluntarily put yourself on the learning curve. okay, and be part of this. And when the next opportunity comes, you can always say that, hey, I was part of the one that was before. I have helped this SPC. I was part of the training team. I trained these modules. Okay, I was in the implementation or in the coaching of this particular art. Okay, so you can, whichever that you see in implementing the SAFe, any of these topics that you see on the slide, you can actually be a part of it. Okay, you can embed yourself, and you can say that, hey, this is my experience previously. Now I think I can do it on my own. Okay, so that is how you kind of embed yourself into certain activities. Okay, now what is the career progression in scaled agile? Okay, as I mentioned, scaled agile has a lot of roles: scrum master, senior scrum master, product owner, release train engineer, solution train engineer, SPC. A lot of these things are there. Now what is the career progression? There is always this forward and backward integration. The forward integration is knowing about the CI/CD tools, DevSecOps. Okay. The backward integration is always about knowing the design thinking and other practices. Okay, that you can do. The other thing is, if you're a Scrum Master, you have to start thinking about, how do I become a senior Scrum Master? Is that in my career path? Is that what I want to do in the next 2 years, next 5 years? If Agile is going to be my career, then obviously you have to start thinking now. What is my next gig? What is my next phase? Okay. Now let's say that you're already an SPC. What is your career progression now? If you're already an SPC, your career progression is going to be at the portfolio level. Okay. How do you become a portfolio manager? How do you become a senior leader? Okay. So depending on where in the pyramid you are, there is always the next step. There is always the next designation. There is always the next title. Okay. How do you get there? Couple of ways. One, by continuous training, continuous coaching, continuous certification, continuous voluntary involvement into these scaled agile practices, scaled agile activities. Okay. SPC role and its marketability. Now, so many people ask me this question. Hey, okay, I'm going to get certified in SPC. Okay, what is the marketability in US? Again, as I mentioned, I do not have visibility to Indian or Asian or European markets, but I know the job market in US. The SPC role is actually considered to be a very senior role. Okay, 50% of the companies, they do not take SPCs from the outside market. Okay, that is not a good news, but still 50% of the companies want to groom their own people to fill the SPC certification and the role within. Okay, so if your company is on a scaled agile and you want to become an SPC, the best way to do that is go through your own company's training protocol. Okay, don't go and take it from outside. If you go and take it from outside, you're going to get a vanilla training, and that may or may not be applicable to your company. Okay, now 50% of the companies actually look for SPCs, okay, in the outside market. Those are the companies that are trying to implement SAFe for the very first time because they don't have experience. They are trying to get experienced people from outside. I have seen people from Deloitte Consulting, from KPMG, from Google, from Microsoft, from all these companies. They were SPCs there, but they are highly solicited, highly wanted in smaller companies to implement SAFe. Okay, so is that market there? Yes, it is a highly marketable job title or a certification for that matter. Now, if you go through body shoppers, the reality is they ask everything under the sun. They want you to do change management. They want you to be a risk manager. They want you to be a defect manager. They want you to do everything, but the rates are like $85 per hour. Okay, that is not going to happen because that is the rate of a scrum master. Okay, so SPCs are senior leaders, in practically speaking, in bigger companies, they are willing to give up to $250 per hour for qualified, experienced SPCs. Okay, this is my experience. Okay, so there is marketability there. Now, once you become an SPC, okay, how do you become an SPC? You have to take a 5-day training and you have to take a test, which is a closed book test, and you have to pass the exam, and then they will give you the certification. Now, there are some entry criteria for it. You have to be a Scrum Master or an advanced Scrum Master for 3 years, and you have to be with the company, and the company has to provide you an affidavit and all that. They have come up with a bunch of entry criteria for you to take that certification course. Okay, because every year, because I started with SPC 2.0, now it is SPC 6.0. Okay, so I have always kept my certifications alive. Okay, one good thing is my company is paying for it. Okay, now the renewals are very important, because if you do not renew it, okay, it is a yearly renewal. If you do not renew it, okay, then you have to go through the grilling process of attending this training for 5 days and taking the exam, which has transformed into a more tougher material, more reading materials. Okay, but if you are keeping your certification alive by paying the dues, and also whenever the certification comes to the next level from 5.6.0, okay, it is actually watching a bunch of videos and attempting a 20 or 25 question quiz. Okay, you can take that multiple times and then you can get certified. Okay, so upgrading yourself once you are an active SPC, it is easier than forfeiting a certification and coming and sitting for the training and exam later. Is going to cost you a lot of things in monitor, from a monetary standpoint as well as from a mental health standpoint. Okay, so if you have a certification, I strongly suggest that you maintain it, upgrade it when the new versions come in, and renew it on time. Okay, now there are certain aspects to know from a SAFE perspective. SAFE certifications are not cheap. The SPC certifications renewal is $900 a year, which almost translates to 80,000 rupees in Indian money. Okay, if your company is not paying and if you are not practicing, then this would be a burden on your financial capacity. So you have to ensure that, either one, you are practicing it and making money out of it so that you can write it off, or your company pays for it. Okay, again, is it worth having an SPC? I would strongly suggest yes. Now, at what level of the career that you are in, that depends, and that is the determining factor for you to whether take the SPC certification and keep it or not. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to stop my my lecture here, and I'm open to questions.
So இப்போ வந்து when we are planning to implement in our company, as you say, first we need to get the trainer, and then
Yes.
the trainer will use company's data and project to train the other people, because that way people will understand correctly, isn't it? If I need to run it.
Exactly. So there are two types of trainers that any implementation program would prefer. Okay, one is they want a homegrown coach, okay, who knows the company culture, who knows the training protocols, who knows the ways of working within the company. That is one type. The second type is they don't want the internally grown, homegrown, home-groomed people to be the implementation expert, because they want outside experience. Okay, because they don't want to fail. So that is where clients like federal clients, my clients, they actually opt for one internal coach and one external coach from consulting companies like mine. Okay, so in all my implementations, I have worked with an internal coach, whereas I acted as an external coach from my consulting company. Okay, so when they bring in the expertise of external coaches, what happens is when I say we, myself, I bring a lot of experience from implementing scaled agile in other clients of mine. Okay, so we kind of like, myself and the internal coach, we work together and we tailor these trainings. Okay, now any training starts with an implementation roadmap. You just don't go and train a bunch of people. Okay, first we have to write down or draw up an implementation roadmap, and then we have to say who are all the target audience that we are first attacking, who is our first line of defense. Okay, who are going to be our ambassadors, and who is going to be the guinea pig for the first set of implementations. Okay, and we want people who are really motivated, who are excited, who are already in the bandwagon and who have the positive mindset of implementation first. Okay, because once they see the benefits and they are successful, then automatically the word of mouth, their their network will start calling us for the next set of implementation. Okay, so I have had some bitter experiences where we have trained a bunch of people who were not even ready or who were not even interested in becoming agile. Okay, nonetheless, we trained them. We wanted them to become the scaled agile company. It was an utter flop. Yeah, we spent close to like $4 million training all these people, and writing up things in agile process operating manuals, and creating a backlog and implementing agile tools and everything, but it was a failure.
Hey, Srini, I got to go. I think I have a hard stop, but it is good, man. Thanks a lot. I'll see how I
Thank you,
can.
Shankar. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Srini. So I have one or two questions. So with that, we'll finish it. So, so the career progression you mentioned on the forward and the backward integration. Do you have the list so which supports? So what are the forward integration that we can check, and what are the backward
Yes.
integration?
So yes. So from a scaled agile perspective, right? From a regular
Yeah.
agile perspective, the backward integration is always from a design thinking standpoint, right? How can we incorporate design thinking into our methodology? Okay. How can we show them the flow? So little bit of Kanban training, a little bit of lean training, little bit of design thinking. Those are the backward integration. Okay. The forward integration is exposing them to automation, exposing them to cloud technologies, exposing them to the CI/CD tools. Okay. So basically, how can we automate these things? Okay. When it comes towards an end. Okay. How can we do service introduction quickly? How can we do deployments quickly? Okay. How can we reuse certain modules? Okay. All of these things are, you can broadly classify them under automation, or you can broadly classify them under enhancements, okay, or improvements. So whatever that is required to make your life easier, to make improvements in your implementation, those things actually come in your forward integration. Okay, so that is from a vanilla agile perspective. From a scaled agile perspective, scaled agile always talks about flow. So there are specific flow related trainings. Okay, the book The Goal by Goldratt, that talks about flow. Okay, then there are things around change management. Okay? How do you enable change? Because moving people from the small company mindset or a small team mindset into a scaled agile at 400 plus people into an enterprise mindset, it requires a lot of change management. Okay, so providing specific risk trainings, specific trainings on flow, specific trainings on theory of constraints, specific trainings on DevOps, specific trainings on, AI. Okay, all of this is actually the forward integration for scaled agile, because you're actually wearing an enterprise hat.
Okay. And coming to renewal, so you answered the thing. So the renewals are helpful and important for SPC. So whereas if you see other certifications in SAFE, so compared to PMI, it's too costly. So is it worth renewing it if they are partially into the scaled program, but active in agile and other traditional methods?
In my personal opinion, okay, any certification that you earn with your hard-earned money by putting in a lot of effort, okay, if you're at least, if you're, let's say that you're going to use the certification, for job hunting or for other roles within your company, or for upgrading yourself into the next level of certification, at least if you foresee that you're going to use it for the next 2-3 years, I strongly suggest, even if your company is not paying, you pay and keep it. Okay, now let's say that you're 100% sure that you're moving away from it, you're not going to use it, then let it forfeit. Okay, then when the time manifests itself that you want to get into it, let's say that you don't want to do scale agile now, fine, forfeit it, that's okay. Couple of years from now, just go through the rigor of getting the training again, and then passing the certification and taking the certification at that time if it requires. Okay, but one key thing is, if you foresee even at the very slightest that you will end up in a job market, searching for jobs, don't let any certification forfeit. Okay, because along with experience, people are looking at certifications. In US, especially if your company, or a consulting company, or a body shopping company, any company for that matter, if that company is a government contractor, there are certification requirements. Okay, I always see three things. One is years of experience. Next one is educational qualifications, and the third one is certifications. Okay, years of experience is, they have a minimum requirement, and they also have a skill-based requirement. They say overall this person, let's say as an example, overall 10 years experience as a tester, 3 years minimum experience as a Selenium automation tester. Okay, now they say if this person is a bachelor's degree holder, 3 years are waived out of it. Okay, if this then they say mandatory certification requirement, Selenium testing certification. Okay, now when there are two people, one person has experience and the educational qualification, the other person has experience, educational qualification, and certification, obviously the person with the certification comes up in the in the sifting process.
Okay, good. Thank you. So one more request I have is last webinar itself I thought, but forgot. So before you send this PDF, can you add one slide so which helps in such a way? So the functional roles whoever is doing outside of Agile. So what are the roles that they can look out? So business roles, whoever is doing. So what are the roles they can look out and their career path in scaled Agile? And the same in, so already they are Agile or in Scrum or in Kanban. So what are the roles they can start up and they get grown? So like that, if you add one single slide and send me.
Sure. Yeah, I can.
So that we can. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So thank you for your time. So all the three.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk in your company's forum. And my best wishes to your company to get into more consulting, more training, more coaching, and more placements.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So even though we have less number of people in this forum, but people are more number of people are viewing the recordings, so that gives more mileage. Okay. Okay then. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Bye.